is my place, and I am welcome.
Yes, loving this planet and celebrating it. And I'm just taking a moment to reground. Sawabona, everyone. This is me seeing you and reaching out across space and time to connect heart to heart and mind to mind, knowing that we can co-create this moment in time together. And just to complete that connection, if you want to affirm Yabo Sawabona, that's you seeing me. And so this is the heart intention to make whatever I have to say here today meaningful to you. And celebrating Earth Day on April 22nd, and our beautiful, wonderful planet is our home. It is our bodies. It is our expression in physical form. And it certainly deserves a day of celebration. So just to give you, that zoom out and zoom back in to appreciate our planet. So this is the picture of the Milky Way, and that little dot out on the arm, that is our sun. And we on this beautiful blue marble are a little dot, just third rock from the sun right there. And that just gives us a different perspective. And we are the third rock from the sun, and we are very tiny in comparison to some of the other planets. And yet we are so special in this universe. We are so unique in this universe, just like each of the others are unique and special. And this is our little blue marble that we call home. And we share this little blue marble with 6 kingdoms of life. The plant kingdom, and just to give you some perspective on who the plant kingdom includes, there's 8.7 million different plant species. That's not individual numbers of any given plant. That's just the number of species. The way humanity is one species, there are 8.7 million species of plants. And those include, so then the fungi, there are 1.3 million different kinds of fungi on the planet. Protozoa and bacteria is another kingdom. And where do I have that number? Lost it. Anyway, there's more DNA of bacteria within your body than you have of your own DNA. That the bacteria is just so prolific, and just a shout out and honoring and celebration of this kingdom of life on this planet, because we couldn't live without it. And those microbes within our bodies are our health and well-being, and they have taken a huge hit over this whole adventure when COVID. So acknowledging them, celebrating them, appreciating them, and sending them love and compassion. The protozoa kingdom, another massively huge kingdom in the order of millions. And then we have the animal kingdom, which is the kingdom of which we're a part. And within that kingdom, we've got 10,000 different bird species. And again, that's species, that's not individual birds. That's just species. We've got 45,000 spider species. We've got 10,000 reptile species. We've got 8,000 amphibious species. And we've got 1 million different insect species. Note how they don't include the spiders. There's only 6,000 to 7,000 mammal species, again, of which we're a part. And then I would also include the mineral kingdom. And I know that our current understanding in science doesn't generally include the mineral kingdom as part of life because they consider it inert. But anyone who has worked with crystals or who has worked with consciousness understands that there is life in all things. We are all part of the same whole. So I would include those, and there's 6,000 different species, different types of minerals. in different structures and different crystalline structures. So just feeling into and celebrating that oneness of which we're all a part. Each and every one of these individuals is part of that wholeness. And so are we. And celebrating it, acknowledging it, that we as spiritual beings couldn't have physical experience without their existence, without their presence. Every molecule of my body, of your body, of anyone's body is on loan from the earth. Our cells turn over completely, or our molecules turn over completely every 15 to 20 years. Blood cells last a couple of months, brain cells last a year, bone cells last 3 months. The DNA cells DNA molecules last a couple of months. Our skin lasts a month, our liver lasts 10 weeks, and these are the individual cells within it. So they're always constantly turning over. You don't have a single molecule in your body now that you were born with. And the vast majority have been completely replaced in the last year or two. So just recognizing how connected we truly are to the planet and all of what we think of as our neighbors, but another way to think of it as the other parts of ourselves. And just feeling into the wonder of that. And recognizing that it's a holographic universe. So in this first principle of unity of oneness, it's recognizing that we are all interconnected, or as quantum physicists say, we're entangled. So there is no separateness, and we are connected to every other part of the universe. As above, so below, as within, so without. That's how it's expressed in the spiritual scriptures of ancient times. And really it's talking about that idea of fractals, where, you know, at a greater scale, you see things looking very similar to what they look like at a smaller scale. And it just goes in and in and in, or out and out and out, from atom all the way out to cosmos. So unity principle number 2, and what does that look like in our celebration of the earth? I love nature as much as I love myself. You know, Jesus taught us to love one another. In John 13:34, in John 15:12, Matthew 22:35, Mark 12:30, 31, Jesus told us in different ways to love one another as we love ourselves, to love our neighbor as ourselves. And when we start to recognize, you know, who all that includes, we have a deeper respect at so many different levels. When I was describing those 6 kingdoms of life on the planet, it's interesting how in Western culture, we've kind of set ourselves outside of that, as somehow we're better or different, or, you know, science has tried to identify what makes humanity different from any other species on the planet. And we've come up with things like language. We use language. Well, we found out that even plants use language and communicate with one another and have memory, both short-term and long-term. We found out that bees are better at solving problems, like going from one flower to another flower in the most efficient order. The old salesman problem, you know, how to make the most efficient route. Bees have it down. We have our ability to solve problems, and so do other species. Our ability to adapt. Well, certainly other species have demonstrated the ability to adapt, the ability to teach their young, the ability to be born with instinct, or the instincts that are born within us. Again, other species also have this. So we're not as different as our arrogance would like us to believe. Our ego is really quite spectacular. I've come to the appreciation over the last little while that there's really nothing that can be underestimated more than the human arrogance. And it kind of goes back to the Genesis in the Bible, right in the first chapter where, let's see if I can find the direct quote here. Genesis 1:26, where God says, and then God said, "Let us make mankind in our image according to our likeness, and let them have dominion over the fish of the sea and over the birds of the air and over the cattle and over all the animals in the earth and over every creeping thing that creeps upon the earth." And boy, did we hear that, and we ran with it, and our ego blew way out of proportion, and we have really worked hard at living that dominion over the earth. And metaphysically, that dominion over the earth was intended to be the dominion over our own thoughts, over our own bodies, over our own decisions. We, like I say, we kind of blew that one out of proportion. And now we're getting a chance to grow up and bring it back into proportion. The reality is we have to figure out, if we keep going the way we're going, where are we going to live if we destroy the earth? And it's the spiritual journey is coming back to remembering who we truly are. And that is a combination of both humble, realizing how small and tiny and insignificant we are, and how much wisdom that we're a part of. And it's also remembering our magnificence, the truth of who we are, that we are connected to that greater wisdom, that we are connected to that wholeness, that we are connected to the love and perfection of the universe. That balance of humility and magnificence is where we find the richness of life and where we can co-create with nature to make lives that are wonderful to live. And recognizing that those are our choices, and it's up to us to make a life that we love to live. Getting lost in nature and you find yourself. And while at a spiritual level, this is so true, if we don't have respect for nature, if we don't come to it with reverence and awareness and wisdom, you'll find this image on the internet where it regularly says, scratching out, "You will find yourself," is, well, you will probably end up dead. And it's when our ego gets caught up in the romantic aspects of nature, we can forget how powerful the elements are. And again, not that our spiritual nature, not that the truth of our being doesn't have dominion over that, but our ego certainly doesn't. And it's up to us to grow into the truth of our spiritual being and to align with nature. It's not, the war on nature is one we cannot win. It is up to us to align with it. Before we ever put a pencil in a child's hands, those hands should dig, climb, press, pull, squish, twist, and pinch a wide array of environments and a wide variety of materials. A quote from Amanda Morgan. And this is about us experiencing our physical surroundings, coming into our body and truly embodying our physical existence and our physical presence. We can get so caught up in our head, in our thinking, that we can even kind of forget and not pay attention to our body. If we did pay attention to our body, we'd do a lot better job of looking after it and caring for it and listening to it. The body has great wisdom. The body is directly connected to our innate wisdom, which is there for us. And the earth keeps showing us in every possible way what is available to us. And we would do so well to listen and align rather than snatch the little pieces we observe and run off and try to do our own thing with them. And in some ways, this is really just humanity growing up. I mean, when a mother is holding a baby and providing all of the nourishment and all of the things that baby needs, and we watch that baby grow, The teenage years can often look like a bit of rebellion, a little bit of choosing our own way and doing it our own thing, or doing things our own way, like we can do it better. There's that tendency for teenagers to look at parents with the roll of the eyes and going, my parents know nothing, or my parents, are stupid or out to lunch or whatever. And then we grow through that and we come back to the awareness of, oh, maybe my parents did know something, and maybe there's deep wisdom there after all, and maybe I don't have to do everything the hard way myself. And I think this is really where humanity's at, is coming into the awareness of, oh, Mother Nature, the earth, has wisdom for us. And there's more wisdom there than we thought. And maybe learning from her and aligning with her will serve us better than trying to do it our own way. Unity principle number 3 is the law of mind action. And this is really about, choosing what radio station we tune into, choosing what things in life we click on. So we can either click on the problem and focus on the problem. And boy, when it comes to looking at environmental issues, is it easy to click on the problem? Is it easy to click on all of the things that are wrong with how humanity is treating the planet, or how things are going that way? And the alternative is to click on the solution, is to raise frequency, is to see things differently, create things differently. It's changing that radio station dial so that we tap into the frequency of the things that serve us well. And with that, whoops, where did it go? Oh, there it is. Okay, so going from unity principle 3 to unity principle number 4 is aligning with the divine. This is taking time in nature, connecting to, the divine Father and the divine Mother within our hearts, within our own beings, going into the sacred silence with the unity beyond duality. From that space, then, we connect with our wholeness. This is the power of prayer. This is the power of meditation. If you haven't gone out and squished your feet in the mud, or, walked on the soft spring grass, or contemplated a flower, or stared into the clouds or the sky with wonder, I really encourage you to do that. If no other time, then, do it on Earth Day. But better is to take time to do it every day. It is your connection. It is your wholeness that you're trying to reconnect with. And looking at all these 4 principles, then I'd like to share with you a really short video clip that really speaks into this.
And so finally, let's talk about fractals and cancer. One thing that we have known for a really long time, but that's not actually really commonly known, is that when tissues fall to less than 60% of oxygen, cancer begins. What we are familiar with is the fact that cancer starts to act entirely differently from the host environment that birthed it. It takes this non-oxygenated reality and it starts to spread all over its host environment until eventually it kills its host and it kills itself in doing so, which sounds frighteningly familiar to what it is that we do on the planet. So we create cities devoid of oxygen practically. We spread that over the planet. And we have actually no real sense of how disconnected to nature we are. If it's not painted on us or on our t-shirts, we don't really know what living in the wild means at all, because we were born into this. And so if an animal from the wild even comes in, we kill it instantly. And we spread this reality across the planet, seemingly to no end, destroying and acting completely differently from the host environment that birthed us. So is it possible that cancer is not the terrorist? Is it possible that What we've done is we have created the ultimate biological fractal of being able to mirror exactly on the inside what we've created on the outside. And if that's possible, then imagine the power we have. That would mean that if we want to clean up the oceans, we just need to clean up the waters of our own bodies. And if we want to clean up the land, we only need to clean up the fibers of our own being. While that seems like a really simple statement and a really large statement at the same time, and addictions and habits seem to stand in our way, they appear to be the very biological, psychological doorways or zero-point fields into the very spaces where we can draw from the vacuum, draw to be able to pull in healing not only for ourselves, but for our entire ecosystem and our planet. Moment by moment, because it appears that if we have a body, we are the best healers that we know. Thank you.
I don't know about you, but I find that just so powerful. That idea that when we're acting different than our host environment and taking it over, we can see the problems. But in hearing that, do you hear how she just described our unity principles as I've just described them? Recognizing the wholeness, recognizing the fractal nature, the holographic nature, recognize our part within it, recognizing that we can take the action to heal our own bodies, to heal our own lives, to heal our own thoughts, to clean up just our own space. And in doing so, we clean the world. We come back into alignment. It's really all about coming into alignment with the divine. And when we come into alignment with the divine, then we are inspired to take action. And we don't have to take all of the actions. We just have to take the action that is in front of us in the moment. And this is our opportunity to show our love for the planet. Not just for one day. Yes, take the one day to really celebrate and to dive into the wonder of this incredible physical 3D reality that we get to participate in. Celebrate it, love it, appreciate it. And then as you come into alignment with it, take action. We can't leave it to the animals to clean up after ourselves. From the image of the seagull, carrying the pop can or the glass, the plastic glass, it would be nice to think he was taking it to the garbage bin. I kind of doubt it. So what are some inspired actions that you can take? There's all kinds of things with respect to food. Starting with eating less, starting with eating local or organic. Energy systems, looking at ways of living more energy efficient and using more green energy. And again, there's so many different things so many different angles that we can approach this from, or so many different things that we can embody and use and do. Waste, thinking of things from cradle to cradle and cutting down on the things that don't have a second life that go straight to landfill. Reducing what we use, reducing our consumerism, looking at what it is we need and at what it is we need, what it is we use, what it is we have for convenience, and asking ourselves whether convenience is worth the price to the earth. Sustainable mobility, how we get around on the planet, the opportunity to walk more, the opportunity to stay closer to home. Nature, reconnecting with nature and remembering what that means. Looking after nature. Maybe it's picking up a piece of garbage every time you go out for a walk. Whatever it is. And again, there's just so many different opportunities here. 2 minutes on Google for Earth Day activities will come up with 1,000 of them. The invitation is just to become conscious of your own life and going back to the video clip that we just heard, recognizing that how we treat our own bodies, how we treat our own minds, what food we put in our bodies physically and what food we put in our bodies in the terms of ideas and thoughts and what media we take in, the energy that we expend, whether or not we get enough sleep, our waste, how we live our lives, our mobility and how we get around just our own personal selves, and our own relationship with nature and how we connect with it and identify with it. Living our unity principles in honor and respect of nature and our earth not only benefits us, but it benefits the whole. And there really is nothing more that we can do. That is the most we can do. And when we're inspired to greater action, it's amazing how those actions connect with other people and those other people connect with other people. Look at Lynn McTaggart and the Consciousness Project that she's been working with, or Greg Braden and some of his projects. And there are so many of those projects, consciousness and physical, that are going on. It's just up to us to participate in them. And so with all that, then, it's my invitation to you today just to take the next week and celebrate Earth Day. And let's start right now by going into meditation.
One breath at a time. One breath at a time. That's where grace comes in, with one breath at a time. One breath at a time. One breath at a time. That's where grace comes in, with one breath at a time. One breath at a time. One breath at a time. That's where grace comes in, one breath at a time. One step at a time. One step at a time. That's where peace comes in, with one step at a time. One step at a time. One step at a time. That's where peace comes in, with one step at a time. One breath at a time. Breath at a time. One breath at a time. That's where grace comes in, one breath at a time. One breath at a time. One breath at a time. That's where grace comes in, with one one breath at a time. Take it one breath, one step, one breath, one step, one breath, one step, one breath, one step. Just breathe, just breathe, one step, just breathe, one step, one step, one breath, one breath, one step, one step, one breath, one step, just breathe, one breath, breathe, one step, one step.
One breath at a time. I invite you just to relax into your chair. Feel your feet on the floor. Feel deep beneath that floor into the earth that supports you, has always supported you. Without you ever asking, it has always been there for you. Feeling that one breath at a time, coming in and going out. Sometimes at your conscious bid, but so often not, just of its own accord. Again, that wonderful skin around the earth that is her atmosphere, providing the breath of life, the oxygen that we need to live. The plants, the air filters that keep purifying our air. We take this time to extend gratitude and wonder and appreciation. One breath at a time. Every step we take on this beautiful earth, supported. I invite you now just to take some time and feel into the aspects of the earth that you take for granted every day, or perhaps you consciously celebrate every day. And just feel that even deeper wonder, whether it's the mysteries of your own body or the parallel mysteries of the earth. I invite you to take some time in the silence to truly breathe into them. For the Divine Mother that provides us with our physical presence and experience here on earth, and the Divine Father that is the Spirit that lives within us. May we be truly, truly grateful. in celebration of the wholeness, in celebration of the oneness in one another, and all the expressions of that wholeness. We celebrate and are grateful. Amen.
Surrounded and enfolded by the pure white light of Spirit. Nothing but good shall go from us, and only good shall come to us. Go forth in universal peace, radiant joy, and blessings abound. Amen.